Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has been in power since 1994, over 3 decades. On January 26, he will run for another term in national elections. None of the previous election results have been recognized by the international community as free and competitive.
These elections will most likely be absolutely quiet and calm, and will show record results in support of Lukashenko. I assume it'll be around 87% or higher.
The Belarus Central Election Commission rejected a number of candidates ahead of the polls, ensuring there are no real rivals to Lukashenko and his re-election.
Nothing noteworthy is going to happen before the elections. Repression is still happening in Belarus, and it is getting worse.
The repression Turarbekova is speaking about began in 2020, after the most recent presidential election sparked mass protests across the country. Western countries have repeatedly imposed sanctions against the Lukashenko regime and do not consider him a legitimate president of the country. Suffering under those sanctions, the Lukashenko regime has embraced Russia, allowing President Vladimir Putin to use its territory to deploy Russian troops and stage attacks against Ukraine. Experts like Turarbekova say the Lukashenko regime has effectively turned Belarus into Moscow's satellite.
When choosing between himself and his country, Lukashenko picked himself. Putin used that and made him dependent on himself in a way that Lukashenko now can't say no to anything Putin says.
After the anti-Lukashenko protests of 2020, Belarusian authorities forced NGOs to close along with almost all independent media outlets. Journalists in large numbers face detentions, arrests, searches, as well as administrative and criminal charges. Many have left the country, making free and fair elections even more unlikely. Lora Zaitsava, VOA News, Washington.